Welcome back to another day, another episode of the Daily Grind. I'm your host, 30NSG, and on today's show, we're going to be talking about Xbox is refocusing on the consoles that make up 80% of its business while stepping away from smaller game studios. We're also going to talk about State of Decay 3 has more wishlists on Steam than Xbox heavyweights, Halo, and Gears of War, a masterclass in Microsoft short-sightedness. We're also going to talk about State of Decay no longer needs to release on Game Pass following the Xbox split. We're also going to talk about Xbox Game Pass user account hasn't grown in years. And we have Asha Sharma wants Xbox to entertain 1 billion people daily. And then we're going to watch TheKingerd's video of GTA 6 called our Bluff. If you guys like what I do, we do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning till noon Eastern. If you like it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. What's going on, chat? Let me see who is all here. Eclipse, good morning. Altern, good morning. Sarge, good morning. Ward, good morning. Who else is here? Kraken, what's going on? All right. So, real quick, I saw what you guys are talking about in stream, and Altern says, Sarge, makes you wonder, what's the point of making good DLC that sells if you are going to get fired anyways? And then he continues by saying, if bringing money gets you fired and not bringing money gets you fired, then why make a good game if you're going to get fired no matter what? Here's what I'll tell you from the film industry point of view. Okay, I didn't take jobs, right? Like if somebody approached me and said, "Hey, I want you to work on this film," and I'm like, "Well, what is the film about?" I'd be like, "Oh, it's a medieval piece," and another person comes in on another project and says it's a horror piece. As artists, I get to choose and go, you know what? I'm going to take that medieval feature film, or I'm going to take the low budget, horror film. And no matter which one I pick, I'm going to put the best ability that I have towards that job. I'm not doing the job for the money. Obviously, money's there, right? Because I'm taking a job to get the money, but I'm taking the job that I want to do. So if I have to implement this into this space of video games, right? And I went to school with a lot of people that are working in the game industry, and they take the job and like, oh, I want to work for Bungie. I want to work for ESO. I want to work for, id Software, whatever. All these companies that are being shattered now because they're being closed down for whatever reason. They would make the game, at least you would hope so. They would make the game not because they want to make the paycheck. They would make the game because they love making games, right? So regardless if they know they're going to get fired or they're not going to get fired, their whole thing is, at least this is the way I would look at it, is that I'm going to put the best ability that I have forward on that project. So when the game comes out, okay, like the movie could suck that I worked on, but I know that my job didn't suck. Do you know what I'm saying? I put it in, and I know I'm going to get fired at the end of the job because that's the way the movie industry works. Video games don't work exactly like that because there are contracts, there are people that work full-time, right? Just like in the movie industry, you could work for a studio, constantly move from one project to the next. Other people are freelancers. They come in, do the job, and leave. So at a point, I would think, regardless if you think you're going to get fired, if you know you're going to get fired, you're still going to do a good job with your position because you want to get another job after that. And you can only do what you can do. You can't worry about the things you can't, that you can't deal with because that's just the way it is. Sarge says, I've said many times before, this industry treats devs and gamings like they are widgets. It's an art, not a guaranteed profit, and they create the game like it's a guarantee. Right. What's going on, Hart? Hart says, I switched to VR and never looked back. Sarge says, I can't predict the growth on something that doesn't have a guaranteed profit. What's going on, Rowick? So, to let you guys know, in the Discord, if you're not part of our Discord, if you're new in the channel, if you're here for the very first time, I appreciate everyone. I read the chat as much as I can, okay? But those of you that are coming in for the first time, basically, if you look at the pinned message, if you want your voice heard and I don't read your message, it's optional. You can use the chat thing. It's like a super chat type of thing. You can put a super chat in. If you're a member, I'm going to focus more on reading the members in the channel, but I'm not going to read not going to read the non-members, if that makes sense, right? Like Heart's here. He says, I switched to VR and never looked back between my PC and my VR. Like, I'll read your chat as much as I can, but as people come in and more people chat, I'm going to focus on the members because they're members. You know what I mean? So this is not like, I don't have a member goal. I don't have anything like that. You know, if you like the show and you just lurk in the background, I love you. Right? If you're a person that's giving you a membership, I love you just the same. I appreciate every single person that comes in and watches our content. We do this every day, Monday through Thursday, from 10 o'clock in the morning till noon Eastern. We just cover news stories, have conversations. Chat is part of the show, so I appreciate every single one of you that come in. Just so you don't think I'm ignoring people or anything like that. I'm not doing it on purpose. I'm going to read chat, but obviously if we get more people coming in the channel, it's hard to read everything. You know what I'm saying? So Brainchild says, why are people acting like this round of firing / layoffs are atrocious? It's been happening for over a decade like this. I never understood this, Brainchild. I never understood this because it's like, how in the world, right? How in the world, it's not like I don't have empathy, right? It sucks, right? But as a content creator, what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to talk? And I'm not saying that you're saying this, right? Like, what am I supposed to do as a content creator? Be like, oh man, this sucks. I mean, it is what it is every day, right? Every day, one of you guys might be losing your job or moving or breaking up with your wife or girlfriend or boyfriend. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's all of these things that happen to people, and they're all terrible. But I can't change that. But what I can change is not buying products that, you know, are unfinished, broke, buggy, unfinished games, bloat companies that don't care about the customers. Do you know what I'm saying? And the best thing about this, and no one's really talking about this, they're talking about it, but it's like a sidebar, right? The best part about this whole thing that Xbox did is, yeah, they fired 3,200 people, only 1,600 people right now, another 1,600 people over the next, 12 months, or whatever it is, or 6 to 12 months. But they didn't close down 4 studios. They released them back into the wild. They're funding 2 of them until they complete their game, right? And that's one of the stories we have with State of Decay. We'll talk about in a second. Yeah, it's crazy to me. Understandable. I'm just glad you don't use subscriber mode only. Well, actually, I do. You have to subscribe, and you have to be here for a certain period of time before you can speak. That is an actual thing. That's the stop bots and stuff from talking, though. What's going on, Mo? Man, I feel good to be right. I bet it took everything that's about to happen to PlayStation and just put it towards Xbox. About the studio closures. Just saying. Yeah, you kind of wish that Sony wouldn't close down Bluepoint, and they released Bluepoint. If you were going to do this to Bungie, as much as I hate Bungie, you should release Bungie. You know what I mean? If you're not going to use the IPs that they have and you're going to destroy Bungie, then why not let Bungie go? Do you know what I mean? There's a bunch of different things like that it doesn't make sense. Morning, Wonder Rose. Hart says, all Xbox really has to do is keep physical gaming and they win the next gen. I don't think that's... No, that's not the only thing that Xbox has to do. Xbox has to make games again, right? A lot of the games that they've created are lackluster, minimal viable product because Game Pass. If the game is not finished, they can just throw it on Game Pass. Do you know what I mean? It's almost like what the movie industry does. If a movie sucks, they can just throw it on a streaming service afterwards. Type of thing. And it diminishes what the movie is, right? Movies are becoming shittier because they're like, oh, we just made it. He-Man. I enjoyed He-Man, Masters of the Universe, right? But that movie was made for streaming service, but they put it in theaters to make some money back on their investment because they spent too much money on the movie. And now it's going to go to streaming service. Supergirl, right? Here it's terrible, right? That wasn't made for streaming service, but they put it in the theaters and they're like, it's okay. We'll just throw it to streaming service. They just kind of like write it off. It's instead of making a really good movie and then putting it in the theaters and making it a good movie. Mo says, but that also includes the studios that are being sold off. See, I don't know if that's true, Mo. I was thinking about that the other day, right? Let me put that back up there, right? I was thinking about that after we talked about it yesterday. I was like, is the 1,600 people that are being fired, is that including the people that got let go, like the studios that left Xbox? Because That doesn't mean they're fired. That just means because I think there was a wording yesterday. She said there's 1,600 people and the studios, meaning these people don't count as the 1,600 of the firings. There's 1,600 people that got fired, and they let go of 4 studios. And I looked it up. Compulsion's got like 100 people. Double Fine's got like 120 people. Undead Labs anywhere between 80 and 100 people, and Ninja Theory I think is at 160 people, something like that. So I'm not too sure if it's part of that or not. What's going on, Jesse Mack? What's going on, Roadkill? Kylo, good morning. Brainchild says, I like Destiny better now. It's no longer time chase, but an exploration of all the content. Yeah, I can't go back. Also, it says Xbox games have been trash, and they fix the game 1 year later. Once it's fixed, it goes to PlayStation, meaning their platform are beta testers, and PlayStation is the final product. Right? Starfield, perfect example. Mo says, but the thing about Game Pass is if your game is good, the Game Pass word of mouth spreads like wildfire. Yes and no. Right? Well, mostly yes, right? If the game is good, which if they just throw games on Game Pass like Redfall, South of Midnight, Kiln, Keeper, if they just throw them there, there's nothing there, especially if the games are $100 million to make, like South of Midnight. Do you know what I mean? Like Redfall. Redfall and South of Midnight should have never been on Game Pass because they would never make their money back for the company. And we have a story about that for Game Pass as well. How's it grown? Like, how do you not have, first of all, a COO for your company, right? How do you have 14 managers in between point A and point B? So much bloat. So many people don't know what the fuck they're doing in the industry. It's crazy. Ron says, bloodbath, baby. Did you go see Masters of the Universe? I did. Yeah. Me and my son saw it. It was enjoyable. I wouldn't give it any awards or anything like that. It kind of reminded me of like a Flash Gordon-esque type of movie, Saint. Well, let's see. You still can't play all the Destiny? They're still missing DLCs. They're missing main stories. You can't play the Red War. You can't play the Red War. For that alone, I don't want to support them. Not because I love the Red War, because I bought something and I can't play it. Mo says, and this is what I'm thinking of most is going to be the 14 layers of management and bloat. Sarge says 14 layers of management, 14 managers, and it means way more managers. I love the music. It reminds me of Queen so much. Oh, yeah, in the movie? Yeah. Yeah, I'm not going back to them. I'm a very loyal customer. I'm a loyal friend. But if you go to a point where you're going to dick me over and I'm supposed to take it, sorry, you lose me. You lose me as a customer. Where's the Master of the Universe beat 'em up delay? I don't know why. It got delayed for some sort of reason. It was supposed to come out later this summer. It's still supposed to come out this summer. So hopefully it comes out. Brainchild says, I love to hear of middle management, upper executives getting released, masses instead of the devs. But it also heard of a lot of dumb devs that shouldn't work in the industry. And this is what I think, right? I'm not going to say that all firings are, nobody got hit that was like really good at their job. Do you know what I mean? But remember I talked about this a long time ago, like no matter what job you do, okay, we're all buddies, right? Let's say Crowded, Mr. Z, Brainchild, and myself all work for the same company, right? We're all working for the same company. We're all doing the stuff. We're all friends in the company, okay? Yeah, we're all buddies. We're all work for the same company, but we all have to do our job. And at the end of the day, even though we're buddies, right, it comes down to who's going to keep their job. Well, if I was doing more work than you and you were playing more foosball, you're doing yoga, guess what? Right? The person working doing the most job and the manager checks in, they're like, I like what Brainchild's doing. 30's over here doing yoga. Okay. When it comes time to let go, of people, and a time will come. They're like, well, we have to downsize. Well, who's relevant at this company? Well, I don't know. I saw 30. He was doing a lot of yoga. Meanwhile, Brainchild had his head down and he was in his cubicle and he was working. He came in on Saturdays, right? Like Lumberg, I'm going to need you to come in on Saturdays. Yeah, right? And then that person keeps their job and the other ones don't. Sometimes you could be the hardest working person, but you also cost too much because the person that's next to you is getting a third of your salary, okay? A third of your salary, and yet they're just as productive as you and you're getting 3 times more than them. Well, guess who's going to go? The person that's making a shit ton more money. We haven't even started on a topic yet. I'm just ranting right off the bat here, Crowded. Good morning. Mr. Z says, Brain may have Queen of the bands like The Darkness were also involved with the soundtrack. Oh, nice. I didn't know that. No damn way Microsoft is laying off 50%. Well, I said it months ago, maybe even a year ago, right? Microsoft hired over 30,000 employees during COVID. Well, guess what they got rid of? Over the last 3 years, they are now back to their numbers they were before COVID, after these firings. They fired over 30,000 people in the last 3 years. Imagine that. Imagine during COVID when they hired all these people because they thought we were all going to be locked inside. Everyone was working from home. They were making money hand over fist, and they thought they could make that money for the rest of their lives. They bought the companies. They were making the games. They're like, look at this, right? Look at this. We can make all this money off of people. Did you see how many things sold? And then miraculously, all those people are gone now. The studios they bought are being let go. It's like resetting. As Waterbear says, we're in the Concordian timeline. Roic says, did you see that there will be discontinuing the Switch 1 in 2027? I did not. Don't forget the safe space and the matcha relaxing room. Yeah. 50% of the workforce, Mike. You and I both know that ain't happening. We'll see. We'll see. Crowd said people are good at their job, get fired all the time. Sometimes they'll fire someone who makes more because they know they can take advantage of someone younger and pay them less. 100%. 100%. That's a good, I have an example of this, right? So when I first early on in the business, when I got in the film industry, the day rate usually was like $250 a day. Okay, $250 a day. Now, people call up and they're like, hey, I need a camera up. And I'm like, well, I won't get out of bed unless it's $300, right? $300. And they're like, well, we can't do that. So what they do is they call somebody else up that's just out of school, and they're like, we'll give you $100. And they're like, okay. And then what happens there is the person that takes the $100 gets on the film set, and then they fuck up something. And then the movie can't get finished because they hired a person that wasn't, well-rounded and not professional enough, and they fucked the whole project up because the people that were too cheap to pay for a professional, so they hired someone that wanted to be a professional, but they're not a professional yet because they're still like an intern. But they took the job for $100, and not only did they burn themselves, but they burned the company, and they also burned the spot of people getting the job. Because if you lower yourself to $100, well, then those people are going to take advantage of you. And that way, when I try to get a job and I want $300, they're like, yeah, that's too much. What's his name was asking for $100. I'll be like, all right, well, go fucking hire him then. You got to know what you're worth. You got to know what you bring to the table. Someone takes $100 for the same job as someone offered $300, right? Cool. Hire the least efficient person that doesn't know what the fuck they're doing and just trying to get their name in the hat to be hired next time. But yet they fucked it up for themselves. They fucked it up for the company, and they'll never be hired again. A lot of the funding, subsidizing it also ended so that the money isn't there to fund the sizes of the workforce. It can also be execs can't take a smaller bonus. Well, we saw what Satya Nadella took, right? The 50% layoffs actually make a lot more sense when you include the new expansion of the AI use cases. Yeah, the AI costs more than just having the person that they're out there already. Saint says the retired military destroyed pay in my city. Yeah, because people are desperate. When people become desperate, they'll take less money, and they undercut themselves and then fuck up the whole thing. Saint says they take the job for way less because they have a second income. That's right, and they fuck up everything because they have no integrity. They have nothing, so they have to just take it, and they don't understand. They're like, well, my house is not on fire, even though they're blowing up everyone else's house because of it. Crowd says, and that's when you say, by the way, when the $100 a day guy fucks up everything and you call back and it's $350 a day, 100%. Yeah, 100%. Because now I know they're in trouble. I'll be like, oh, I thought you guys were in production. All right, let's get to the first story, which is Game Pass, right? Let's talk about Game Pass. If you guys like what I do, we do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning till noon Eastern. If you like it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. My channel is not about debating or anything like that, right? Everyone has their thoughts, and I like to have my channel where I'm giving my thoughts, my opinions on the things that we read on my channel, and then we get your thoughts and opinions, and we go back and forth. This is not a debate channel. This is not like I'm right, you're wrong type of thing. This is my thoughts, your thoughts, and we all have just a conversation. It's like coming over to my house, right? Having a conversation while we're watching a sports game or a video game, and we all love video games. We all want to talk about video games. We all want to talk about stuff. That's what my channel's about, okay? So, Xbox Game Pass users count hasn't grown in years. Now, imagine a world where you weren't putting your first-party titles that were the big AAA titles on Game Pass. I know, as a person on Game Pass, everyone's like, as a gamer, I'm like, yeah, go ahead, put them all on there. I'm not going to stop you. I'm going to buy them or to play them. I'm going to get your rental like it's Blockbuster, and I'm going to play as many games as possible because it's great content for me. Okay? But from a business standpoint, which I've always said, the big games day and date don't make sense because they're not going to make their money back. Right? Because Xbox pays the third-party publishers or third-party games money to come onto Game Pass. So, for instance, right now, State of Decay 3 is separating, right? Undead Labs is separating. Before they were part of Game Pass, part of Microsoft. So, Undead Labs never got money to make their game and put it on Game Pass. They were just thrown on Game Pass because Microsoft owned them. They pay for their salaries and stuff. They make the game and they put it on Game Pass. That was the end there. But now, we'll go into the story in a little bit. State of Decay is separate, and they don't have a contract for it. So if they want to be on Game Pass, Microsoft now has to basically pay them money, which works out, right? So big games that cost $100 million, $200 million, $300 million, it makes no sense to put it back. Think about this, and as we talk about this, right, there was I think it was 30 to 35 million people were playing on Game Pass this entire time, right? They never said anything higher. So we just assumed that was 30 to 35. Me and Sarge always did the 30 number, 32 million people, right? And I think it was 75% were on the higher tier. And it came out to about $450 million a month. So if you were making $450 million a month before all the expenses and stuff like that, you would have to budget and go, all right, well, how many games are we adding to Game Pass this month? How much money are we paying to put games on our platform here to make money? Well, they're not paying for State of Decay. They're not paying for E-Day. They're not paying for them. Those are their first-party studios, just throwing them on there, right? Well, if they're paying other people to bring their games on there and they're bringing 10 games a month and they're spending, I don't know, $400 million, well, obviously, you're spending more than you're bringing in. You already know. This is why companies want subscription models, because they know how much to spend. But for some reason, they didn't know how much they were spending over at Xbox here. Maybe because they didn't have a COO. Right, so Game Pass users haven't moved. It says Xbox Game Pass subscribers count seems to be at a standstill, as one, it has not been able to cross the 30 million mark in years. So there you go, 30 million. Okay, Asha Sharma, the CEO of Xbox, made a significant announcement today, which is yesterday, regarding the latest rounds of layoffs. In her memo, she also addressed the Game Pass, noting that the service has not not growing at the expected rate. Now, with a new report that provided update figures of the current number of Game Pass subscribers for Xbox. Okay, Xbox Game Pass is still at 30 million subscribers. A report from the Wall Street Journal provides additional insight regarding Asha Sharma's comments on the Game Pass. Microsoft acquired Activision Blizzard to enhance the Game Pass offering. Yeah, they could have enhanced the Game Pass offering by putting Transformers, Ultimate Alliance, all the older games that Activision owns underneath their IP and they have to get the license for again to put onto Game Pass. That would have been a smart business move. Where are those games? How come those games haven't been back on Game Pass? You don't put Call of Duty that cost $350 million onto Game Pass. Okay. In legal documents related to the acquisition, it's projected that Xbox would have around 77 million subscribers this year. Okay. Let's just put that in. Let's do some math here, right? If they had 77 million at this point, 77 million, and we'll do, you know what? We'll do it at 15 as an average because some people would have the 23, some people would have the 10, right? That would be $1.1 billion a month. If they had the 77 million people by this time this year, they would have $1.1 billion every month. Every month times 12. They would have $13.8 billion a year just on subscription services for Game Pass if they had their way. You see what's happening here? Right? But they only had 30 million, which they only had 450 million. So, however, the source familiar with the situation has reported at the Wall Street Journal the current number is actually about 30 million. Okay, to put things into perspective, in 2023, LinkedIn Post disclosed the Game Pass had surpassed 30 million members. Then in 2024, Microsoft provided an official update stating that the service had grown to 34 million subscribers, a 36% increase over the latest official report numbers, and the company's goal was to reach 100 million subscribers by 2030. Considering the current figures, it is evident that the Game Pass is not growing at an expected pace as growth has seamlessly stalled over the last few years. Okay. So, as a person, you would think, all right, what's our income, right? This is like 101 here. What's our income? What can we spend? Right? You spend your thing. Like I'm doing this right now. I'm thinking about doing something for the channel, and it's going to cost me $30 to $40 a month if I do it, right? And I'm thinking to myself, well, I can't do that yet because I don't have that much to spend on that stuff to make the channel grow. Now, I could take a risk and go, all right, well, exponentially, maybe I'll try it out for a month or two and see if it works. And if it works, great. But if it doesn't, you don't just sit there and just keep throwing money at it and going, well, nothing's changing. Nothing's changing. I'm just going to keep throwing money at it, right? You cannot put $100 million games on Game Pass and think all of a sudden everyone's just going to come in. Because even if you put a 300 Gears of War E-Day coming to Game Pass day and date, okay, reports of $450 million for this game right now. Well, it's not going to PlayStation now. It's on PC, it's on Xbox, and it's on Game Pass. Well, if 30 million people potentially can get it, obviously 30 million people aren't going to all play it, but 30 million people are like, oh, I'll give it a shot. No one's buying it. They're not even trying it that way. They're not buying it and go, oh, I played 2 hours, I'll return it. No, they're just trying it on Game Pass and going, no, I'm good. Or I love it. They play it till end, and then they never, never buy it afterwards. Do you know what I mean? It's very rare that people will do that. Obviously, we know this because the numbers show it. There's only 28 million people that own an Xbox, the newest Xbox. 28 million. So you put a $400 million game on Game Pass, you're never going to make your money back on that game. I've always said I like Sony's model better because they wait a year and a half, and then they put it on PlayStation Plus. That makes sense for the brand new games. Now, if you're going to do independent games, if you're going to do AA games, you want to put it on Game Pass because the price of it's less than $50 million, less than $100 million, that would make sense. But yet they put the $400 million game, they put the $200 million game, they put the $100 million game, and South of Midnight didn't make money. Killen didn't make any money for it. Redfall didn't make the money. It's dumb. Jason says, what happened to the $100 million Game Pass subs by 2030? They still have it. It says in the article they wanted Yeah, 100 million people by 2030. Yeah, right here. The company's goal was to reach 100 million subscribers by 2030. Well, here we are in 2026. They're at 34, 30, just above. All right, let's see what you guys are saying. Let's see. Take away Fable. Take away Gears, Fable, Forza off Game Pass like they did COD. Forza's different because it's a live service game, right? That's a live service game. Now, Gears could be a live service game as well, and maybe that's why they think they can put it on there. But Gears is making money. Forza is making money. Very successful, right? Because people bought it on PC, people play it on Game Pass, people bought it over here. They play it on Game Pass. They're making season passes and microtransactions, so that offsets the stuff. But if you have a single player game that comes out and it has no microtransactions and it costs you $200-300 million, you're not going to make that. You're not going to make that back. Jesse Mack says 30. Why don't Xbox reset Game Pass to make more sense, laying out their subscription model? I don't know. Maybe because they had 14 managers in between. They didn't know what was going on. I mean, don't get me wrong. As a gamer, Gears of War E-Day coming out, cool. Right? Dune Awakening's coming to Game Pass. I already bought Dune Awakening on PC. Right? But now I can play it for Xbox, and I can play with Sarge, and we can play it because it's on Game Pass. I already bought a copy of it. I don't think they have cross progression. Do they have cross progression? Is there cross play on Dune Awakening? I have no idea. Maybe there is. I haven't looked it up yet. Actually, I think they are. I think they are doing it. It says Game Pass should only be about third-party deals, indies, not first-party exclusives. They could put their first-party exclusives on there if they're smaller studios. If the game is over 100 million, you're not going to make your money back on Game Pass. Now, if you had 77 million people on Game Pass, that's a different story. If you had 93 million consoles out there, that would be a different story. But they have 28 million. And they're spending $100 to $200 million putting games on Game Pass. Doesn't make sense. Game Pass is used most by console gamers. They stopped selling consoles to users, so they can't grow, and lost millions when they upped the price. Well, whose idea was it to raise the price? A bunch of morons, right? And obviously, putting Call of Duty on there, you have to raise the price because you're never going to make your money back on the $400 million game that you put on there. So it's their own fault why it hasn't grown. Everything is on Xbox, right? Yeah, because they're idiots on whoever's running that plan. Like think about this. Starfield, you could have bought on Xbox, right? And you could have also played it on Game Pass. 2 years later, now they put it on PlayStation. Wouldn't it make it more sense if 2 years later, like you bought it on Xbox, you bought it on PC, it wasn't on PlayStation, and then a year later you put it on Game Pass, or 2 years later you put it on Game Pass and it's on PlayStation? Like, you had exclusives and you blew it. You blew it. My Quest 2 is an Xbox. When I travel, I bring my Meta Quest 2 and I play Xbox through it. Roadkill says the problem is Phil Spencer. He never funded any of the big games people wanted. He chased tons of little games that they're on Game Pass, and he killed Xbox. I don't know if it was little games, though, Roadkill. There was big games they put on Game Pass, which they shouldn't have. Starfield shouldn't have been there. Anything over, again, I'll repeat it again, anything over $100 million should not be on Game Pass day and date. You're not going to make your money back. What's going on, Just Enough? Well, you don't have to think that. That's what they said. They wanted Game Pass to be Netflix. Well, guess what Netflix did? Netflix was taking other people's games or other people's movies and paying them a lot of money to bring it onto their platform, right? They weren't growing, but they were making money. And they took that money and invested into their own original programming, right? And once they had their own original programming, they started getting more people to come in. But they weren't spending hundreds of millions of dollars on their original programming at the start. Hart says the only question left to ask really is who still plans on upgrading? Upgrade to the next console? I'm not. I'm not buying PlayStation or Xbox. Brandon Clip says there was over 200,000 on Steam. Forza is fine. Yeah. Yeah. Forza, there's certain games that can make it because of the live service aspect of it. Big Mo says day one stays fuck what you're talking about. Loyalty to my wallet, period. If they put day one, it loses them money, Mo. Again, as a gamer, I don't care. You put the thing on there, I'm going to play it. I'm going to play it because it saves me a fortune, right? Aku says, give WoW sub to Game Pass. Game Pass will grow quickly. I said that years ago. I have a video. It's one of my biggest videos that I have on my channel. The clip says, yep, cross progression and cross play. Well, there you go. Crowd says, I saw the Steam Machine reviews. It's not looking good. Alto says, first off, the Series S should have stayed at $300 price point, and the console was the perfect Game Pass machine. 100%. 100%. They're idiots for raising the lowest thing on the board. But you know, they had all these things that they sold out of, and they had to build brand new ones, even though it's the exact same. It's the exact same consoles that they were on the shelf, put in the back, then taken out the next day, and they charge you more money for these things. I don't know the legitimacy, but I heard that something this morning about the Steam Machine getting a price drop. Well, if it doesn't go down to 700, it's not moving. But if that is true, isn't that funny? Because that means people aren't buying the machine. People that signed up for it, got in line for it, didn't purchase it. And because they didn't purchase it, Steam's like, well, we have all these Steam machines. And again, I don't know if it's what you're saying is true or not, but the thought process is if they're not selling them and no one's buying them, guess what they have to do? They have to lower the price and they have to eat the cost because they have stuff on the shelf that's not moving. Congratulations, you played yourself. I hope it is true. Sarge says, why would I buy a console for $1,400 when my PC does the same thing? I have more control of my games. Well, Sarge, there's someone that would tell you that, well, the PCs are going up in price, so you're still paying more. And I would be like, yeah, but I'm still got more control. Jesse Mack says, nobody wants $1,000 price next-gen consoles. Yeah, they said they're getting rid of the contractors. Now, is that part of the layoffs? There's a lot of contractors. There's a lot of contractors out there that were never like full-blown Microsoft employees. PS5 Blow says, never back down is on YouTube free with ads. Nice. There you go. Go check it out. That was my last job that I was a PA, right? I was a production assistant right before I got into the camera union. And when I was on there, I got credit for production assistant, but really I was the second AD, but I didn't get credit for it or the pay. People felt so bad for me that the entire crew, like the actors, the actual like people that were part of the union, I was putting in 20 to 22 hour days for about, I want to say about 36 days. I slept on set in the the trailers and stuff like that. And I was the first one on set. I was the last one to leave. I worked with the first AD, the second AD, but she got sick, so I took over her position. Right? Didn't get the pay for it, but I got a lot of gifts. That time. It was good times. I got a cool backpack. I'll show you the backpack. The movie was called Get Some originally, and then it transferred to Never Back Down. Here, watch it. This back here, I'll go full screen. This backpack, okay. If you can see, it says Get Some. when the movie came out, is one of the first movies to use iPhones in the film. Okay, so it's right when the first iPhones came out. So this actually has controls, and up here there's a wire that used to plug into the original iPhone. Okay, and you could control your iPod or iPhone through the actual backpack. One of my favorite backpacks I've still owned today because there's got so many pockets. I take it with me everywhere. Fucking 20 plus years old. Almost. No, it's 19 years old. Roadkill says, I got my Series S for $229 at Target when all the scalpers had everything else. Nice pickup. It's a good little box. I know people give it shit, but it's a good little box. Roadkill says, 30 says, I didn't get paid, but I got a cool backpack. Well, everyone got a backpack. Everyone that worked on the set got a backpack. I also have a I forget the actor's name. He played the bad guy in the film. I think his name is Cam Gidget or something like that, I think is his name. He gave me a toiletries as a gift at the end of the thing because I used to get him ready. I used to get the other I forget the other male actor. I forget his name. I can't think of it off the top of my head. Amber Heard, right? Used to walk her dogs every day. Right? Yeah, we're going down the rabbit hole. Oh, where I land, I do not know. But here I fall down the rabbit's hole. Right? So, but they gave me a toiletry, and there was expensive stuff in there. Like, I still have it today. It's leather. It's awesome. Yeah, that's 19 years old. Yeah, I got a lot of gifts from people working on that job. Sarge says, gamers are already figuring out how to build a PC better than Steam Machine, and some for cheaper. No, I didn't make it, Roadkill. It was the last job I had as a production assistant before I went into the union. And then I became a union member of the Cameras Local 600. And then I went on to work on a lot more stuff afterwards. All right, let's go to State of Decay here. You had some good times in the film, Mike? But what about the bad ones? Even the bad ones, I had a good time. I love working in the film industry, Mo. Love working in the film industry. I used to go in there's things I got to do in the film industry that I would never ever do in my own. You know, I got to ride in helicopters and private planes, and I would go across the country. I would get access to places I would never have. I worked for military stuff and saw things. So many good things. I worked on a job where we were doing this firefighter video, okay, and I got to be a firefighter, like, because I had to wear all the gear, and I'm inside the actual, like, you know, where they burn the buildings for like practice and stuff like that at the training facilities, and I was there with them with the camera. The camera's all wrapped up and stuff, and I walk in there, and the flames. I'm a firefighter, but I'm filming the stuff like it was like backdraft, right? Like, I got to do some really fucking cool shit. I got to be in a helicopter as we're like filming people hunting down boars in Texas, like, because wild boars are like everywhere. I got to be on the border, seeing the underground tunnels where the drug dealers and the smugglers come, where you know, the coyotes take people across the border to get into our country. Like, I've seen so much shit. I love it. I love it. Mo says you had some good time. I already read that part. Roadkill says when you get get them ready. You don't mean you're a fluffer, right? No. I would. They would be in their trailers, and I'd be like, Miss Heard, they want you on set, like you're on the radio and you're taking them from point A to point B. You're getting stuff you're trying to make them as comfortable as possible while they're filming the movie. Yes, Amber Turd. That's before she became the diva. I think it's one of her first films. I know she did. I think it was one of her first major roles. I think that Never Back Down was. Did I meet Amber Turd? Yes, I was really close to her. Yeah, for 2.5 months, I knew what they ate. I knew her family, her mother. Mr. Z says, "Don't tell stories, 30. Was the fluffer?" I would tell you if I was a fluffer. Wasn't a fluffer. I think I have. Do I have a? Here, I could show you. I was really young when I did. Let's see. Let me see if I could find one of the pictures when I worked. I think it was around. I have Bill Anvil. I don't really take pictures a lot with celebrities. But we worked on one film called, I think it was called Bait Shop, with Bill Anvil and Billy Ray Cyrus. Let me see. Yeah, I don't even know where I would look through my photos. I'll have to find it one day and I'll mark it. I literally just saw him like recently. But I don't know what they're from. Like what month they're from. I'm trying to think when I worked on the actual movie back then. I want to say it was over the summer. So it'd have to be in like June or July. Oh, you know what I could do? 2000. No. Yeah, I would have to find them. I don't know if she did. I don't know if she did. Yeah, I loved Entourage. Love Entourage back in the day. All right, let's go to State of Decay 3. State of Decay 3 has more wish lists on Steam than Xbox heavyweights, Halo, and Gears of War, the masterclass in Microsoft short-sightedness. If you guys like what I do, we do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning till noon Eastern. If you like it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. State of Decay 3 was facing cancellation before Xbox thankfully found a buyer who will now reap the rewards of Microsoft's endless stupidity and impatience. Yeah, we were talking about this, right? We were talking about this because how do you, like, canceling a project like year 2, year 3, when they're like way off, makes sense, right? You're like, oh, there's no reason to put more money into this. This game's almost done. Like this game was so close to completion, and they're like, yeah, no, we're gonna let it go. So you would rather invest into other things that are not even made yet than a game that's done and you can get paid out on it. It's crazy, right? Here it says, dust is still settling over Xbox's big reset cuts and will continue to settle in many weeks to come just yet. Now, Microsoft CFO Amy Hood has led a massive job calling across the firm, with almost 5,000 staffers set to lose their job roles over the next fiscal year. 3,200 of those will be Xbox alone, with some escaping as debentures, remaining studios have been also gutted by some accounts with massive reductions of Obsidian and id Software, despite success stories of Grounded 2 and Doom, The Dark Ages. Now, the silver lining here for Xbox executives spent the past few weeks finding buyers for studios that Microsoft's CFO lined up for otherwise shut down. One of those is Undead Labs, makers of State of Decay, who also been through hell and back to get where they are today. Undead Labs was founded in 2009 and acquired in 2018 as Xbox sought to bolster the exclusive content spread for Xbox. The integration was immediately met with problems. They haven't done anything since they bought them. Like, this would be the first thing, right? State of Decay 2 was there, and then State of Decay 3, and yet now they got rid of them. Undead Labs leader, co-founder, and World of Warcraft alums Jeff Strain left the studio in 2019, not long after the acquisition, and then the firm was immediately hit with lockdown regime, heading straight into COVID-19 pandemic, and disruptions was palpable. Unable to proper incubate State of Decay 3, Undead Labs works on free updates for State of Decay 2 as Microsoft struggled to properly integrate the studio and teams. That's because they had shitty leadership. Not Undead Labs, maybe, but Microsoft in general. Despite State of Decay 3 being announced in 2020, it wouldn't actually enter full development until far later. These should be mitigated factors for Microsoft's been encounters. We're looking at ways to reduce costs, but in Microsoft's typical disappointing, short-sighted fashion, Microsoft seemed oddly unaware of the potential it has to palm on its hands. Right? So just to put it in perspective, State of Decay 1 sold around 1 to 2 million copies off a really, really low budget, less than, I think, $10 million. State of Decay 2 went up to about $20 to $40 million, and they sold around 4 million copies. And obviously this one's going to be around, I would say, with the 20% increase or whatever, probably anywhere between 50 and 80 million. And it probably would have sold the most. But yet, here we are. They got rid of it. I hope they are successful. I'll be honest with you. So instead of riding the State of Decay 3 28th most wishlist game on Steam, it comes in at higher than Halo, Campaign Evolve, and Gears of War E-Day, both as far as Xbox games go. State of Decay 3 is the second only behind a big budget blockbuster Fable. Okay, and it doesn't cost anywhere close to what Fable cost. State of Decay 3 was by far the most anticipated Xbox game this side of the Clockwork Revolution. The only alpha glimpse we've gotten will look incredible, and it was an evolving multiplayer title. It was also painfully obvious potential long-side games like Grounded and Sea of Thieves. It's utterly absurd and frustrating that Microsoft, for whatever reason, weren't able to give them just a bit more time and subsidize their own mistakes. Microsoft banks billions of dollars annually, and there's really no excuse a disruption of havoc of its impairing onto its teams. It's crazy to me that you still make $450 million a month on Game Pass, and you can't take a small little chunk of that and keep throwing it towards Undead Labs to finish your first-party title games. Absolutely mind-boggling. Okay, where's that money going? Who's getting a yacht? Who's buying 15 cars? Who's getting a massage every other hour? Right? It says, I'm not naive. I know quite painfully well in the order that they get paid. You have to have the businesses that make money, and at least eventually. But at the same time, Microsoft is also amongst the hyperscalers chasing AI infrastructure based on theoretical growth using models of companies funded entirely by theoretical money. Okay. Of all the cutbacks as nonsensical choice Microsoft has made this week, State of Decay 3, above all, for me, underpins how Microsoft financial management policies all too often make the hasty, self-defeating mistakes all the time. All the time. There are going to be projects at Xbox that shouldn't even be greenlit, and there are strategic decisions made to remain utterly questionable for sure. But Microsoft is making so many baffling choices to pay for those mistakes for me. The fact that Xbox has been forced to devise State of Decay 3 really represents the apex of Microsoft's generalized ignorance. In the future, I look forward to writing about how the studio like Undead Labs expand and become success stories free of Microsoft, but there are many hundreds of developers who might not be so lucky. Perhaps the 1,000 of employees that remain at Xbox will benefit from more focused Xbox managerial structure, not spreading themselves too thinly, but it remains to be seen. And perhaps I actually am being naive here. Microsoft has created the environment where every fiscal year in July, we're writing articles like this, being reminded that missed opportunities of human cost Microsoft legendary short-sighted impatience. Well, don't forget, you're also writing every holiday break. We do it twice a year. We do it during the holiday break, and then we do it again during the summer break. That's how it works. Okay. So yeah, how idiotic is it that the game is almost done? Almost done. And they're like, nah, we're going to say. And yet, I believe they're still paying for it. Okay. I still believe they're paying for it, which goes to our next story. I don't know if they're paying for it, but State of Decay 3 no longer needs to release on Game Pass following the Xbox split. Okay. If you guys like what I do here, we do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning till noon Eastern. Hit the like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. State of Decay 3 is reportedly no longer obligated to be released on Xbox Game Pass following Undead Labs' exits from Microsoft. Hey, look, I already know what I'm doing with State of Decay 3. I own the first one. I own the second one. When State of Decay 3 comes out, it will be broke, buggy, and unfinished. Okay, that will be a thing because the second one was like that. The first one was like that. And they will be months and months and months and months and months afterwards that they fix it. And when they fix it, I'll be there. I will buy the other copy. Okay, because I own, and I want to complete my trilogy. Okay, on Monday, it was announced that Undead Labs, alongside several other studios, would be leaving the Microsoft stable following widespread restructuring and resulted in thousands of jobs losses. One silver lining amongst the difficult news and announcements is both that Ninja Theory, Undead Labs have found new owners. Both studios previously announced games would be released. However, it's now being reported that Undead Labs' upcoming Zombie State of Decay 3 may no longer appear on Xbox Game Pass. And I would be okay with that. I'll be okay with that. According to the game file, part of the exit deal, which was announced on Monday, and I was wrong about this because I was like, I don't think they would get away from it, but here we are, right? So didn't know. I was like, they're probably still paying for it, and they probably have a contract, but apparently they got out of it, right? Undead Labs no longer needs to be required to release its next game into Microsoft's subscription service. If it's not clear in the terms of also apply to Ninja Theory's Senua, which also announces that Xbox Game Pass is still possible, that Microsoft reaches a new agreement with Undead Labs and its new currently unknown owners to release the game as part of the service. Now, this is what I was talking about earlier. Now that they do this, they would have to pay Undead Labs to put it on Game Pass, which is smart for Undead Labs because if Undead Labs says, look, with our budget, we're looking to sell this many copies, right? And if State of Decay can now be on PlayStation, it can be on, obviously it's on PC, it's on Xbox, and it's being sold, and they're like, well, we'd love to put it on Game Pass. Can we give you this much amount of money? And Undead Labs like, well, we're looking to get 5 million copies sold. So if you give us, 2/3 of the what we might lose off of your console, give us this money up front, they can strike a deal. And it's great for the developers, right? It's great for them because they're making money up front before they even sell the game, which is nice. It's like sort of like offsets the cost of stuff. And then they can also sell it on Xbox and everywhere else. So it says Undead Labs was acquired by Microsoft in 2018 and 8 years between acquisition and eventually sale. It didn't release a single game under the software giant. No, they just kept doing free updates for State of Decay 2 and then just were sitting around. State of Decay 3 was announced back in 2020, with the developer later admitting that the reveal trailer was purely designed to announce what the game was coming. Because at that point, the game was just a Word document, which is crazy. Okay. So the game finally appeared in the Xbox Game Showcase in June, where they announced in 2027 a release of PlayStation 5, Xbox Series consoles, and PC. So they no longer have a contract. This is the best case scenario for companies like this. For Undead, for Ninja Theory, for Compulsion, and for Double Fine. Because now, if Xbox wants their games on Game Pass, they get paid. They get paid. They get a contract up front. They get to put on Game Pass, and they also make the money that they would have lost because Microsoft paid them to put it on the actual thing. This is the best thing that could happen to State of Decay. Now, State of Decay 3, we don't know who owns them, who bought them. Now, the new owners could completely look at State of Decay 3, and they could completely make it a live service where you're paying for stuff. Now, that would be terrible. Right? But we've seen it before where they take games and all of a sudden they change them up because they want to make the most money on their return on investment instead of just making a game and selling a game. So hopefully State of Decay 3 and Undead Labs didn't go to someone that is money grubbing hungry and just wants the developers to make this game, launch the game, and make money off the game itself and not a microtransaction store. But these are just my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments section down below. Please make sure you share, like, subscribe if you like what I do here. Thanks for watching. All right, guys, let me see what you guys are saying in chat for the last two stories. Roadkill says, I know the movie Bait Shop. I've seen it a lot. Well, I worked on that. I was the first AC. Let's see. Actually, I was the second AC in that one. I wasn't the first AC, which is a camera assistant. I was the film loader. 30, did you watch the Entourage show before I did? Deadeye says, High Five Rush was my head scratcher. Sold well, won awards, but then that wasn't good enough for Microsoft. I'm wondering, was it good enough for that? Well, here's the thing. At least High Five Rush and Tango Gameworks got bought out by another company, and the company didn't close, right? So that's another good thing. Microsoft was going to fire him, held it back, and then sold it to somebody else, so they're still alive. Sarge says the discussion we would need to figure out, bro. The only logical conclusion is that they received a bigger tax credit in the project doesn't release rather than releasing it and trying to make a profit. Yeah, but we would need to see that, right? But it is a good logical conclusion. It had 4 million people play it. I don't know if it sold well for Hi-Fi. We had 4 million people play it, but they didn't tell us the actual sales. Kraken says, do sequels always require a higher budget? If they're any game, it keeps the same budget and sees success by doing so. Most of the time, Kraken, at least, and I don't know how it works in the game industry, but in the film industry, let's say I made a movie for $10 million, right? $10 million. They usually up it 20 to 25% for the next sequel. Right? Because they figure if they put 20% more into it, they're going to X times their money for the project, which most of the time that works. And then the next one, right? So if you look at, and it all depends on the contracts of the actors and stuff. So for instance, Robert Downey Jr. made, I think, $500,000 for Iron Man. That was it. But by the time Avengers Endgame came, he was making $20 million. Do you see the problem type of thing? Roadkill says they PlayStation could make a stated K3 exclusive. That would be so funny. They could. Wouldn't that be hilarious? Where they buy it, or they buy the exclusivity and they put it on. I don't think the company would do that though, because then they would lose sales because it's a niche market. And since the first game only sold 2 million and the second game only sold 4 million, and that was across consoles wide, it would be stupid to limit it to one thing. Let's see here. Drummond, what's going on, Drummond? It says, what do you foresee happening to Senua game? Will it come out, and who will publish it? Well, it's going to come out. Well, Ninja Theory is on its own, and they have a person. So I say it will come out. But we don't know much info on it. I think it would come out. The first two games sold decently, right? Big Mo says, I think Double Fine and Compulsion are still funded by Xbox for their next game. That's how I read it, but I could be wrong. Right, they're not owned by them, but they're helping them by giving them money to finish out the projects. Let's go on, Mr. Luke. Let's go on, Jax. Jack says it would be worse if Xbox is publishing it and not coming to Game Pass. I think all games should be a case-by-case scenario to come on Game Pass. If the thing's over a certain budget, it would ruin it for the game and for Game Pass. If it's under a certain budget, then they can put it on Game Pass and still make money off of it. Waterbird says, sorry, guys, it was me. I bought State of Decay 3, making it into an extraction PvP-focused, microtransaction-heavy game similar to TheKingerd in terms of gameplay. That sounds awful. Waterbear. Ray says, is the art director from Avowed fired? You know, the one who ruined. I don't think so. They fired. Well, I don't know if he's fired, but I do know one of the writers from Avowed said something that came out, but he didn't say anything about the person. That would be funny. That'd be funny if he did. Argus says, I don't think it was about High Five Rush. I think it was about whatever they were working on next, whether they approved it or not. I thought it was valuable. It wasn't there, so no reason to keep paying them. Right, and they sold the company. So there's no harm there, right? The company moved on, someone else purchased them, and they're good to go, right? Didn't the people that purchased them is Crafton? Crafton picked them up? Paper says, the launch of Avowed was ruined by being so garbage. I played Avowed. We played it on stream. I didn't think it was terrible. The story was quite, if I can say, the god inside of Avowed was so fucking boring. Okay? But the game itself wasn't a bad game. There was good bones there. They shouldn't have released it as they did. They could have kept it back a little bit. But that guy, the art director, really, really screwed it up for them opening up his mouth. Just stay quiet. Like, leading up to it was fine until he opened up his mouth. August says, paying people for no reason unless they are actively working on something, that makes you money. Roadkill says, 30, you're in the film industry. I got 20 grand. Let's make a horror movie and become millionaires. I think we can do it. You don't have enough money. If you have a good script, you got to show me the script. 20 grand is going to be really hard to do. So if you have practical effects and stuff like that, it's going to cost a lot. If you have more of a psychological horror, that could work out better. Because you're going to blow your money on talent and effects. You could do it. Don't get me wrong. I'd be interested to know if Hi-Fi would have done with better marketing and not available on Game Pass. Surely, to have the factor of Game Pass as less selling on the IP. I don't really think Game Pass. I think the shadow drop and stuff was fantastic. Remember, they didn't market it at all. They just shadow dropped the thing. And I think that was actually cool at the time. But people just didn't like the rhythm. The problem with that game, as much as I loved it, a lot of people don't have fucking rhythm. They don't. So it was very hard for people to play that game because they had no fucking rhythm. It's a rhythm game. Jesse Max says, if the stockholders would see the book for Revenue Undead Labs and see the tax credits, if they agreed to be fine to be profitable then. Mr. Luke says they could do what EA Play do for 10-hour trial of the new games, not full releases. I mean, us, we love demos. Love demos. Demos would save the gaming industry. It really would. Because then you would have people that, if you made a good game and you put a demo out and people played the demo, they would buy your game. And if your game was shit, then they wouldn't get pissed off and they wouldn't have to get refunds. Do you know what I'm saying? Demos are amazing things. Roadkill says Game Pass is bad. If they needed to copy and do exactly what PlayStation, Nintendo is doing, what works. Game Pass is not bad, but it's bad for big budget games to go on Game Pass when you don't have the numbers. If they had the 77 million people, Roadkill, and they were making $1.1 billion a month, then there wouldn't be a problem. Right? There wouldn't be a problem. But they have 30 million. They're only making 450 million. And if you put a $200 million, $250, $300 million game on Game Pass, you're not making your money back. Argus says, but I also don't think a rhythm-based game can ever be true mainstream. Yeah, a lot of people didn't like it because of the rhythm. Rogue says, what do you think about making the first-party games have something like a 2-hour time trial on Game Pass for the first month or so? I would actually think that would be a smart idea, Roic, where you put the demo version of the game on Game Pass. You can try it. Hell, even try it for like 5 hours. Right? Like if you could play Starfield for 2 to 5 hours, would you purchase it afterwards? That might be a good solution for the bigger budget games. And then the smaller budget games under the price point could be day and date type of stuff. That would be smart. Warbear says, Blair Witch was how much? Blair Witch was something, I want to say, was it 500,000? Hold on. No, 35,000. Blair Witch Project was produced an initial estimate budget of 35,000 to 60,000, right? And then obviously they promoted it, so double that, so it's like 150 to 200,000. And then they made a shit ton of money. And then Blair Witch 2 went to 15 million production budget. Do you see the difference? Blair Witch 1, $60,000. Blair Witch 2, $15 million. Yeah, that's way bigger than they needed. Argus says you can actually kill the actress and actors to save budget on paying the actors and special effects for legal purposes only. This is just a joke. I gotcha. Yeah, you can just use AI. You can make a good movie. You can take that $20,000 and make a AI movie. Roadkill says, yeah, I couldn't play the game. I got no freaking rhythm. No one ever talks about that, Roadkill. Everyone says that Microsoft is dumb. They're letting Tango Gameworks go into Hi-Fi Rush. I love Hi-Fi Rush. But no one played it because it's a rhythm game. It won an award because of the rhythm, but nobody wanted to play it because most people don't have rhythm. Waterbed says, I said it for years on stream. Game Pass was good for consumers, bad for the industry. Yep. Now the rooster has come to roost, and whatever the saying is. We've all said that, right? As a gamer, I'm going to play it because it's great for me, but it's terrible for the industry. You can go back to GXG back in 2019. To be fair, you don't need like 20 new Game Pass games each month. Game Pass, 5 new games per month is enough. Sure. But you could also put 20 games on Game Pass alternate for value if they're older games. Do you know what I mean? You can have, like what they're doing right now with smaller games, fantastic, right? Because even those small games, even if they pay them, they're still making $450 million every month. And let's say they use 100 million to get the games that they're putting onto Game Pass, and they're still making money off of that. If there was a person doing a budget, not a 14 people in between taking the money and siphoning it to other things. Like if I make money here, I put it back into the stream. I upgrade something, my camera, my computer, my graphics card. You know what I'm saying? Like you get money, you save money, you spend money, and you invest it back into the thing. They're making a bunch of money from Game Pass, and they're what are they doing with it? If you make money from Game Pass, you should invest that money back into Game Pass and then use the other money to put for something else. Paper says the issue with demos is too many studios right now are trying to scam people. On console, they have to go through a process, right? On PC, they don't. That's why people get scammed. On Xbox, they have to go through this process to get on there to be a demo, right? Otherwise, they'll get yanked from the store. You don't need rhythm for the game. You need rhythm for Hi-Fi Rush. And people are like, nah, I'm good. Saint says, speaking of AI, I saw a first AI actor is starring in a film. Are you talking about, what was that? I forget what that character was called. We did a story about it. I want to say like 7 months ago. Warbear says, if you could play Devil May Cry, you can play Hi-Fi Rush. Clip says, this is why I'm not a drummer. I always wanted to be one, but I could never get the rhythm down. Sure, Game Pass is king for gamers that, like, for someone to go, well, I can't believe you support Game Pass. Why? I supported Blockbuster. I rented games from Blockbuster all the time. Mr. Luke says, do a 6-month cycle of older games. So if you want to keep playing, you got to buy it. Yeah. Yeah, and just that the whole rotation, there's so many games. It's fucking insane, that Game Pass. There's, just on Steam, 51,000 games came out in the last 3 years, right? You're telling me you can't take some of those games that came out and get them to put on Xbox? Game Pass? Like, what are we talking about? Ron says, Hi-Fi Rush gives you the option to turn off the rhythm and play hack and slash. Sure. But the game is best played with rhythm. And people looked at it and go, I don't like the art style, and I don't like the rhythm. Do you know you can skip the bosses in South of Midnight? Did people all of a sudden go play South of Midnight? No, they didn't like the art style. John Walker did. John Walker skipped the boss. That's it, Jesse. Tilly Norwood. Is that who you're talking about, Saint? Yeah, Tilly. Yeah, Tilly Norwood. What movie does she actually act in? Because it was a ploy thing. I didn't know she was actually in a movie yet. Fucking John Walker. Yeah. Those of you that don't know what we're talking about, do I have the John Walker song over here? Because I'll you know what? I'm gonna play it. Because I'm gonna go fill up my water. Let me go get John Walker here. Where's John Walker? Good old John Walker. It's not on my playlist here? Oh, for God's sakes. There it is. You guys listen to John Walker, and I'll be right back.
Well, I booted up south of midnight, feeling fine. Got my spells, my sass, I'm ready to shine. Then boom, big beast, 20 arms, breathing fire. I died so much, my controller retired. I tried to roll, parry, and dash on cue. Game said, get good. I said, nah, I'm through. And right when I almost snapped and quit, I heard a whisper, a gospel hit. Skip the boss, John Walker said. Just walk on past, don't be misled. Games ain't chores, they're meant for fun. So let that angry dragon stay undone. You ain't gotta fight no squid with knives, or study boss moves like it's changing lives. Hit skip, sip tea, and read instead. Just skip the boss, like John Walker said.
All right, there you go. Good old John Walker. All right, we got that. What we got here? We got this one. We did the Game Pass one. We got Asha Sharma here. All right, the next story we got is Asha Sharma wants Xbox to entertain 1 billion people daily. If you guys like what I do, we do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning till noon Eastern. If you like it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. I do appreciate you. If you're lurking in the background, if you're at work, you're in the car, mowing the lawn, I'm glad I can get you through a couple hours of your day. All right. So Asha Sharma has lofty goals for the future of Xbox. On the same day that she announced the company would be letting go of 3,200 people, or roughly 20% of Xbox division, through fiscal year of 2027, the Xbox CEO revealed that the goal she was on the brand moving forward. Okay, Asha Sharma wants 1/8 of the global population, 1/8 of the global population on Xbox per day. Now, before I continue, okay, we've talked about this, right? We talked about each company going on their own island, Nintendo, Sony, and Xbox. And I said years ago that Xbox was going to put things everywhere, right? So you could play games. Everything's an Xbox still. Remember that. They're just not advertising it. They're just not advertising it, but everything's an Xbox, right? Your phone, your television set, your VR headset, your actual console, right? Anything can play Xbox through the internet. Okay. So as they say this, you laugh. You're like, ha, that's an insane number. We're not talking about Game Pass here, right? We're not talking about specific Game Pass. We're talking about all of the platforms that they could do and to get in there, right? Now, that's a fucking big number, right? That's a big number. Thinking about this, Netflix only has 200 million, over 200 million. It's like 220 million people, right? And that's huge. That's one company with 220 million, right? No company, okay, has that in just the gaming space, right? So obviously, she's saying 1/8 of the global population just for Xbox business, not Microsoft. Right? In her memo to employees on Monday, Sharma spoke about the Xbox business being in an unhealthy state. She says the company is operating at margins that are 3 to 10 times lower than comparable platform and publishing business. She also spoke about platforms like Minecraft being under invested in franchise. But despite all the rough changes that are taking place right now, Sharma is keeping large goals for the company moving forward. Okay, it says. The next decade, or towards the end of her memo, Sharma says that the changes being made now are about a bigger future for Xbox, not a smaller one. Says, quote, the next decade of gaming will be largely more global and more creative than anything we've ever seen before, she said. This year, we'll invest in as much in Xbox as we ever have, but we're also invested with greater focus, greater discipline, and greater clarity, all in services of making Xbox where the world plays and creates. She then followed up with hopes for the future. She says, quote, I want Xbox to be one of the few companies that entertains more than 1 billion people each day and gives everyone the opportunity to create and connect. So obviously, they're talking about movies, talking about TV shows, talking about video games, right? Talk about mobile, talk about all this stuff. Mobile's going to be a big part of this, I would think. By using the word entertains, it keeps things quite vague. How exactly do they count people being entertained by Xbox? Is it players for their games, TV shows, movie based on Xbox IP, or people simply watching streams of Xbox games and platforms like Twitch and YouTube? That's part of is left extremely open-ended, but also companies that also have about 1 billion users per year, according to the latest estimates. Belief that also they can turn that into a per day number feels a bit pie in the sky. Yeah, so they're getting 1 billion users a year, but she wants 1 billion users a day. It says, do you think they can hit Asha Sharma's goal of 1 billion players per day being entertained by the company? Leave your thoughts in the comments. They can't even get 100 million people to get Game Pass. They can't sell 50 million Xboxes. You think they're going to get a billion people a day? What year? 2040? 2050? Like, what are we talking about? The only way that I can see this happening, and I don't see it happening, but the only way I can think of it happening is that sort of like what Microsoft has done with the operating system, where they just force you to use the operating system. You know what I mean? Like it's embedded everywhere. That's the only way I can see them doing it. If they can get Xbox where it's just the default on the device you're using, that's the only way I can see it happening. Now, do they include that into Windows? Like it's part of Windows? And when someone opens Windows, it automatically includes Xbox, and then they're like, oh, we have 1 billion people? Like, I don't understand how that works. 1 billion people a year, and you want to turn it into 1 billion people per day. That's a hefty goal. Right? If you're doing 1 billion people a year, a billion people, that's 1 million. That's 100 million. That's 1 billion. Okay. That's 2.7 million people a day interact. Okay? 2.7 million people a day interact to get to the billion, and they want that per day. That's a fucking hefty goal, man. Even with cloud gaming, though, Jesse, that is a hefty goal. I don't see it happening. Sarge says, so for the first 100 million on Game Pass, now 1 billion people on the planet. Get the fuck out of here. Jason says, keep dreaming, Asha. Got to remember Candy Crush, Mike. Look, that's fine. 1 billion people per day, they're way off. Because as of right now, if they have 1 billion people a year, they're only getting 2.7 million people to interact with their entertainment stuff on that average. If it's 1 billion people, it's 2.7 million, right? Times 365 equals 1 billion. So it's 2 million, less than 3 million people actively every day and on entertainment. And they want that per day. That's a hell of an increase. You want to get that, then you're going to have to hand out Game Pass to people. Like it comes, they're like, hey, you bought a banana today. You get free Game Pass. Oh, you got a soft drink at McDonald's. Guess what? You get a free Game Pass. Right? That's the only way they're getting 1 billion people to play. They're like, hey, you stepped out of your house today. Here's Game Pass. Water says, 30, you got to read between the lines, bro. They're going to full digital, no physical media, and basically putting it on every device. I don't need to read between the lines. I've said that for fucking years. User says, Game Pass, really? Xbox gunball shoot boys only play COD and Fortnite. They don't want to explore other games. Right. We're not even talking about Game Pass. We're talking about users interacting with Xbox. That's play, watch, something that has to do with Xbox. If it's the Halo TV show or Fallout movie TV show, I don't know. 1 billion people per day. That's crazy. Oculus at 30, define interaction. They close the Xbox app. Is that an interaction? I mean, sure. Yeah. But you got to make them open it per day. Jason says she would need to get the Xbox to a popular in all of Asia for that to happen. We all know that we don't care for Xbox in those parts of the world. I mean, that would be a big chunk if they can do that. Josie Max says, Asha wants to reach 1 billion people active every day is beating Disney. Star Wars. Yeah. That's a crazy amount, man. Like, can we start off smaller? Like, you're only getting, if you're getting 1 billion people a year, it's averaging 2.7 a day. Why don't you say like 10 million? Why don't you say for the year, like you up it to like 5 billion people a year instead of, you know what I'm saying? Instead of saying 1 billion a day, you say like 10 billion for the year. You up those numbers. Ray says she would need to buy Genshin Impact. Well, that's not going to happen, huh? Well, it could happen, but I see what you're saying. They have to be. I mean, I don't know what that number is. 1 billion people daily. I mean, obviously there's like 30 million people that have like WoW accounts. You know, there's COD players. There's like 10 million, 12 million, 14 million people there. Like, you add those all up, you're not even getting to 100 million. You know what I mean? Yeah, Roblox, Pokemon, Minecraft. Like Fortnite's got 14 million like users a month type of thing. I don't know how you're gonna get to that number. She's gonna have to like. They got to come up with some massive plan. Like I said, it's got to be like Windows, where it's just you buy a thing, it's Xbox is on that device, and they're just handing out devices. Everyone, they go on Oprah, and Oprah just like, everyone has an Xbox, and they hand it out every show for everything. I know she doesn't even have a show anymore, but you know what I'm saying. Yeah, what is Valve? What are they? They had 42 million for Steam, right? They just surpassed like 42 million. That's crazy. All right, let's go to TheKingerd's video. TheKingerd will be on the 500th episode of GXG. Let's watch his latest video called GTA 6 Called Our Bluff. Called Our Bluff. Link in the description down below for TheKingerd. If you guys like what I do, we just read articles, watch people's videos, give you our thoughts and opinions. We like to, anytime you watch a video, links in the description down below. If you want to watch their video without me stopping and pausing and stuff like that, I suggest you go over to their channel and watch it. But here we stop, pause, give you thoughts and opinions on what they're saying and what they're talking about. So Big Mo says, yeah, she had a whole damn channel. I mean, she might as well just said a bazillion. Yeah, just make up, we want a quadrillion gazillion. Microsoft buys Rockstar. Even then, I don't think they would make it. Even then, they wouldn't make it. All right, here we go.
Hey, this is future editor TheKingerd with a quick heads up before we get into this video. Since recording it, Sony has announced no more physical games for the PlayStation from January 2028 onward, so I trimmed out
Is that loud enough for you guys?
parts about predictions about physical media and left in more of the who gets screwed the hardest when physical media is gone parts. I just don't know of another industry that's so combative to its customers, so effective at finding a new...
Not a day a year. No, she said per day. They already have 1 billion people for the year.
new way to screw us every week. A 3-day-old recording about them passing off greed and financial incompetence as apologetic necessity is already outdated.
That's how fast the news moves, man. This is why I do a daily show Monday through Thursday, because if you don't make a video, it's obsolete within hours sometimes.
So if anything, that tells me all the...
Oh, you're saying stick to the year. Okay, Mo, I got you. Yeah, like just raise it. Instead of saying per day, just be like, if they do 1 billion people a year, just up it. Go, we want to do 5 billion a year. We want to do 10 billion a year. That's more reasonable.
points you're about to see in this video have that
much
more validation behind them. And this isn't a console war thing. They're all going to do it soon, I'm sure. Anyway, speaking of corporate hypocrisy, watch this.
And you don't disclose the revenue for GTA 5, correct?
Not the total revenue. It's a lot.
I really like this interview. We watched the entire thing and broke it down, so you guys can go watch that in the past as well. But this is when Rockstar knew that November 19th was the actual time. I love that look. That look right there. That's the look. Yeah. The most successful piece of entertainment. It's a lot.
Instead of complaining about being poor, lady, enjoy it.
Mike, I can't feed my kids, and the rent's due.
Whoa, bitch, settle it down. Are you saying this ain't the greatest country in the world?
And we have milked every penny we could in the process.
USA! USA! USA!
It's a lot.
Winnie. GTA 6 is rapidly approaching, and I'm not even going to sugarcoat it. They called our bluff. I don't even... Gaming's getting too expensive. Paywalls are getting out of hand. Digital media is killing games. Stop it. To which...
Digital media is not killing games. The companies are killing the games. Digital media is not killing the game.
Strauss Zelnick slammed his brass balls on the table and said, "I don't care, give me your money." And in one single day, 39 million cried, "Yes, sir."
As long as they can get their instant gratification.
In this franchise that regularly criticizes greed and corruption of the most wealthy, we have an $80 price tag for standard, $100 for its ultimate super mega monkey ball Michelob Ultra edition with...
I mean, that would sell better, wouldn't it? The ultimate mega... Monkey Ball Michelob Ultra Edition. I mean, they could get at least another $20 out of you.
paywalled content, physical edition just being a download code in a box for now, and selling exclusively to us couch dads by delaying a PC release. GTA 6 is going where no game has ever gone before. That's actually not true, none of this is new. The game about blowing fake money wants you to pay real money, and Halo is paywalling a game manual.
I'm sorry. Did I hear that correctly? I didn't know about that. Halo is paywalling a game manual?
Fake money wants you to pay real money, and Halo is
Halo campaign involved premium edition, up to 5 days early access, digital access to a digital game manual. No, don't touch your computer. I didn't freeze. I'm just, my brain short-circuited there for a second. They're charging for a digital game manual.
Walling a game manual? This kind of backwards world are we living in, dude? But it is the widest.
The fuck are we talking about, man? What are we talking about? Like, how can people support companies like this when they're literally just selling you digital manuals now? And put that as a bonus for the Ultimate Edition. Like, you just, oh yeah, you just open up a thing and you just pull out the manual. You just pull out the manual. It's like it's so nice. Like, the fuck are we talking about? To be like, oh, you know what you could do? Not only will you give you a digital manual, we're going to give you a digital box cover as well.
Most prevalent pain tolerance test for mass gaming audiences that we've ever seen. This is no Outer Worlds 2 getting bullied back down to 70, no Star Wars Outlaws.
3-day early access for Outlaws that was broke, buggy, and unfinished. Got the digital art book there, right? You got the pre-order rewards. You also got the 2 upcoming story pack DLCs that you had to wait 9 months to play. But give us that money up front.
This is no Outer Worlds 2 getting bullied back down to 70, no Star Wars Outlaws paywalling Jabba the Hutt and getting ripped apart for it. Games like that, please, one YouTube brigade and that company's laying off half their workforce. But with Grand Theft Auto 6, Rockstar, Take-Two, they don't have...
I'm telling you right now, there's going to be people that bitched and moaned about 30 frames per second games. And they're like, I ain't playing that shit. I'm not playing 30 frames per second. 60 or bust. 60 or bust. Keep that energy level. When you get 40 and 45 frames per second, I'd be like, well, it's better than 30. It's better than 30. 60 or bust. 60 or bust.
Have just a game on their hands. GTA is a pop culture symbol. It transcends gaming.
Most people believe it's the most valuable entertainment IP ever created.
Games can be ignored, they can be destroyed, but as a symbol, they can cause mass time off requests for workplaces worldwide, cause entire industries to basically have a hiatus until the hype dies down.
I had to tell my friend, right? He's a manager, and we were having a conversation, and we were talking about Grand Theft Auto. And I said, hey, you're going to have a lot of people call out because the restaurant industry is, you know, a lot of people call out for stuff like that, right? And he's like, why? I'm like, Grand Theft Auto comes out November 19th. I said, so you're going to have a lot of people ask for off. And sure enough, there's already people asking for that time off. And he put it in his calendar and he's like, thanks for that. First come, first serve. I said, you're going to lose a lot of people that day, even though they can't get off. Even though they can't get off, they're going to take off regardless because they're going to get sick.
And terrify everyone out of releasing a game in November. Well, not everyone.
Let them fight.
Your move, GTA 6. This game is absolutely putting principles to...
I mean, that's pretty ballsy, and I like it, right?
Godzilla out of releasing a game in November. Well, not...
Godzilla versus Grand Theft Auto. It's not going to beat it, but I respect it.
Everyone.
Let them fight.
Your move, GTA 6. This game is absolutely putting principles to the test, and it's already winning, all without showing a single second of gameplay to date. But what's this mean for gaming going forward? Will GTA 6 be the exception or the new rule? Let's break down each of the
GTA fever. Yeah, I'm coming down with something.
most contentious criticisms, what impact they might have on the industry after this is over, and whether or not they're worth all the fighting. Let's get into it. Starting with the announcement the entire planet has been waiting for, GTA.
I say this every single time. We've been watching TheKingerd's videos for 2 years now. Okay. I love his editing style. Love his editing style. If you guys, if this is your first time watching a TheKingerd video, go check out his channel. Go subscribe to him. His editing style is very unique. And I love the clips that he gets. The clips that he gets are so many throwbacks and so many little Easter egg type of stuff. I love it.
6's starting price is officially $80, and you already know what the big concern is here. Will Bank of America win? Will the games industry be emboldened by GTA's success to try normalizing $80 games? Every major publisher is going to be watching this after all. You know,
like just that, right? Just this clip here.
Normalizing $80 games. Every major
fucking Captain America coming out of the thing and Grand Theft, like that's Grand Theft Auto. And we're like, oh, I love Grand Theft Auto.
Your publisher is going to be watching this after all. You know what? I say do it. Let them watch. Let them raise their prices. Go ahead.
Let's light this candle, huh?
I cannot wait for this broken industry.
TheKingerd, I want to know how many takes it took you
Prices. Go ahead.
to sync up the go ahead. How many takes did you have to do to sync that up? I'm going to say 5 times.
Go ahead.
Let's light this candle, huh?
I cannot wait for this broken industry to try increasing prices on games that people already aren't buying. Brilliant. Truly brilliant. I would love nothing more than publishers realizing that when you let this genie out of the bottle, it's gonna cut you both ways. More of a monkey's paw than a genie, I guess. If you want GTA 6 to get away with charging $80 because it's enormous, because it reportedly cost billions, because it's Rockstar, because it's one of the biggest entertainment launches in history,
Yeah, I don't care about any of that. I don't care it cost them $2 billion. I'm not paying $100 for a video game. Not paying $80 for a video game.
then don't be shocked when people start asking why other games are justifying their $80 price tags. Let's do it. Let's compare everything to GTA 6, why don't we? Your Ultimate Edition is $30 more than GTA 6's was? No buy, lower the price. Your
Yeah, I didn't buy that.
10-hour campaign I'll play once is the same price as
Come on, 30. He said it once and aligned it 5-second clip. I'm going to say 5 times. I'm going to say 5 times.
GTA 6 that people will probably play for years? No buy, lower the price. You got too cocky, I'll wait for the sale. Obviously I'm being facetious, but the average gamer only buys 1 or 2 new games a year. If anything, the market that we're in right now promotes more variance in pricing, not less.
63% of gamers buy 2 games or fewer per year.
In fact, one of the healthiest things I think that's happened to gaming in the last several years is moving away from every release costing exactly the same. At least after Call of Duty 2 broke the $50 console barrier, it used to be $60, period, for everything. And following 2K21 kicking off the $70 trend, yes, it sucks the blockbusters have gotten more expensive, but on the flip side, we also get $50 games, $40, $20. More pricing variance means more people get to try more games.
Very true. Very true.
And by all means, games industry, let's compete on value for pricing, shall we?
Freeze,
Go ahead.
See, this is why I like this is why I like his editing style.
Variance means more people get to try more games. And by all means, games industry, let's compete on value for pricing, shall we?
Freeze,
Go ahead, release
Suicide Squad 2.
your half-made live service layoff speedrunner.
Come on, leave Marvel's Avengers alone, TheKingerd. I like the game. It was a piece of shit, but man, I love this game.
At $80 and let the customers humble you. But let's be honest, we already know what lesson most of the industry is going to take away from this, and it's not the correct one. The correct lesson is that not every game should cost the same, but the lesson they're probably going to take is that every game should cost more now.
That's exactly what they'll do. Listen to what he said there, right?
is going to take away from this, and it's not the correct one. The correct lesson is that not every game should cost the same, but the lesson they're probably going to take is that every game should cost more.
Every game should cost more.
Everyone paid $80 for GTA 6. That must mean everyone stumbled upon a leper.
I'll take Avengers 2. I'll take Avengers 2. I'll be the only person that buys it, and I'll play 1,000 hours of it again.
Leprechaun's gold in their backyard, and now we can charge whatever we want.
Top of the morning, mate.
And for context on my stance that you know where I am, I'm excited for a new Rockstar game. Back when games started hitting $70, I remember being asked if I'd ever played a game that I thought was worth $70 up to that point in time. And my answer then was Red Dead 2. Their games are great. But with GTA 6, if I wasn't covering it for the channel though, honestly, I'd probably just wait for a sale. $80 first Rockstar game without Dan Houser.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, did he get interviewed by Lex Friedman? I might have to watch that.
As lead writer, I don't know. Well, there's your answer. I need to sell all of this physical stuff for an $80 game that's digital only that I can never resell. Problem solved. So if a price raise to $80 really does become the new normal, then I hope players put the pressure on the industry to embrace the other half of that equation. Make them compete on value before the games have even launched. Blatantly, openly compare the scope and quality of those new games to GTA 6 in the comments of their ads.
If you compare any game that comes out at the $80 price tag to GTA 6, they're not going to be worth $80. No game is worth $80 if Grand Theft Auto is worth $80.
That is my glass half full vision for a post GTA 6 world. But then there's the glass half empty vision where all these publishers see Rockstar succeeded and think they've all earned a raise.
Correct.
They can't keep their budgets under.
That's exactly why they wanted Grand Theft Auto to come out and raise the price. And they did it beautifully, right? Grand Theft Auto did it beautifully because they gave a $30 leeway. Because games right now are 70, right? They are 70. Mario Kart's 80, but most games are 70. Grand Theft Auto came out at 80, meaning they could raise the price because the actual game with all the content is $100. So now it gave a little bit of leeway to all the other companies coming out and going, oh, well, we could charge 80. We could charge 90, right? It's not hitting that $100 price tag of Grand Theft Auto.
Control, so it's up to you to fix their money problem. But long term, I still think their end game is going to be more microtransactions and subscriptions, paywalling playtime with cloud gaming as hardware gets more expensive. I don't think this launch is going to change that trajectory much. Which is why out of everything surrounding GTA 6, the $80 price tag isn't even my biggest concern. The next controversy is, which I think is a much, much bigger problem. And that would be the absolutely despicable way they're implementing a $100 Ultimate Edition. Because $80 and however many billions they make in GTA Online won't be enough.
It's a lot.
Let's watch that again.
However many billions they make in GTA Online won't be enough.
It's a lot.
There's another $20 paywall that comes with access to more in-game content in a single-player game. But TheKingerd, so many other games do this, and $100 isn't even the most
Yeah, didn't buy any of those.
Expensive kinds of these editions we've seen. Brother, you're talking to a guy who started his channel almost exclusively on dogging on pre-order bonuses and misuse of early access. Spare me the cope.
I know more than you. All right.
If everyone does bad thing actually good thing. It's bad when Ubisoft does it.
Yep.
It's bad when Rockstar does it.
Yep.
Consistency. No, GTA is not trailblazing locked skins, but we're not just talking 4 or 5 Fortnite Battle Pass rejects here. We're not just talking one car. We're not just talking one side mission. We're talking about places, vendors, all their items, vehicles, vehicle customizations, and presumably missions themselves that are all still in this open world game. You just can't interact with them. Because paying the highest price for a base game that you've ever paid in your life is still not enough to get to play the game you've waited 13 years for.
That's correct, right? 13 years you waited, you pay $80, more money than you probably paid for any other game like you just said, and you don't even get the full game. Because they've hid it behind an extra $20. And then you have the people, the simps, the people that protect the corporations are like, well, what's wrong with you, you broke boy? It's only 4 cups of coffee. It's only 4 cups of coffee. What's wrong with you? You can't afford 4 cups of coffee, you broke boy?
It's unclear if this means you can't go inside these locations.
No, you'll be able to go inside because that's how they sell it to you. You're like, you go inside, you're like, oh, I can't access any of that stuff. Oh, here you go. If you want to access it, $20, broke boy.
If you can still browse, but you can't buy,
That's exactly what it's going to be.
know yet. But in a series all about blowing fake money on vanity buys, how immersion breaking is it for this game to remind you throughout Vice City that you're not a gangster, you're a broke, balding loser who won't
That's right,
cough
you loser. You broke boy.
up an extra real-world 20.
All I got is this 20 for the rest of the week.
What's next? A video game's gonna have you walk through a store, pick out which t-shirt you want to spend $29.99 on? That's not even a video game. That's life. I don't
Yeah, it's just life. Welcome to life.
want to play a poor shaming sim. I want to buy fake Lambos with fake money. Invest in perfectly legal entrepreneurial endeavors.
That's right. Perfectly legal. Entrepreneurial.
And now the base edition doesn't lock you out of every vendor, just the good ones, I guess. But apparently I'm speaking into the void because every poll I've seen on social media about this has shown an over.
Look at this. 8,000. I love how, look at this, right? 8,646 votes, but 68,000 views. People looked at this and were like, yeah, I don't want to vote. Oh, it's the final results. They couldn't, right? They couldn't vote, right? 69% giggity. Okay. $100 Grand Theft Auto.
Overwhelmingly high percentage of respondents saying they're getting the $100 edition, like consistently over 70% of them on every one I saw. What's far more troubling to me than the games industry watching a GTA game charge $80 is the games industry watching a game be developed, have pieces cut out of it, and resold as a whole package with a 20% markup be successful and championed by the very people it's manipulating. Content that's ready at launch, but not included at launch, is cut content.
That's correct.
It doesn't matter if that was always the plan or not. Well, you see, this 8th slice was served to me outside the box. That means all 8 slices are worth more now.
Yeah. That's how they do it. That's exactly right.
Calling this a bonus slice is bootlicker semantics and nothing more. But where this differs from other games that have done it, not only does it betray many of the pillars of the franchise it's in, I mean, even GTA Online and Red Dead Online let you just play for currency if you wanted. Crazy concept, right? But it's also being far more violently defended than I would have ever predicted.
Yeah, because if you criticize anything, people take it personally, right? If I say people that buy Grand Theft Auto are mindless, you're going to be like, well, fuck you, I bought the game, right? So making fun of the thing makes fun of the people instead of just going, yeah, I just want it, right? I just want the game, right? You're like saying Grand Theft Auto shouldn't be this, we shouldn't buy it. Well, fuck you, I'm gonna buy it anyway, right? They get offense taken if you say something about their game because they love the game, right? Like you guys made fun of Marvel's Avengers. I don't give a shit, right? I like the game. I'll play the game when I want to play the game, right? But I'm never going to defend it. Never going to defend it. It's a piece of shit game, and I love it.
Me to set the tone with a hilarious edit I saw on Twitter. It's not cut content, it's extra. There's nothing extra about this content. It's obvious they wanted to charge $100 for this thing, but backed off with all the discussions about it hitting the press. Guys, Take-Two stock dropped when they announced the base game at 80. Like, everyone was ready for this thing to be 100. Granted, that dip's been more than made up for by now, presumably with the success of the pre-orders, but still, it happened. Investors had expectations that initially were not met. Instead, they came up with the admittedly genius idea of getting people to optionally pay $100 instead. Have you ever heard of self-discovery?
Do you see these scenes? Like, I wonder if TheKingerd watched the movie and he's like, I'm gonna use that in a video. Like, that's perfect, right? Home Alone 2.
People to optionally pay $100 instead. Have you ever heard of self-discovery or self-persuasion? It's a persuasive tactic where you lead someone to make the decision you already wanted them to make. You just make them feel like it was their idea, so they're more passionate about it. They feel more ownership of that decision. And boy, are the people passionate about how much money they chose to spend.
Yep, I chose They didn't tell me to spend it. I chose to spend it. Yeah.
Like, if pocket watching is getting upset with someone for spending money, this is the opposite. People are getting mad that other people aren't spending more money.
Right. They're shaming you because you didn't spend the money, because you have sense, common sense, and go, well, I haven't seen anything yet. I haven't seen gameplay yet. We don't know anything about the game, and you guys spent $100 on the video game because GTA 6.
Why? What's the matter? Poor? It's optional. What are you mad about? Well, yes, it's optional, like every purchase ever is optional, but it's not about affordability. It's about the ability to tell when we're being lied to and caring enough about the future of gaming to say, no. I'm not willing to sacrifice the long-term future of game design for a temporary convenience now.
Do you want to upgrade to the special edition to use this forge? Yes.
And unfortunately, the primary casual gaming audience is just always under attack from being pressured to make impulse buys, so this kind of stuff will get more and more egregious.
It's no big deal, right? You've been conditioned, even my son, 11 years old, right? He's been playing games since he was like 3 or 4, and every game that he puts in, there's a battle pass, there's microtransactions, there's, $15 is the norm for $14 or whatever it is, right? That all just compounds on you. It's almost like as a Gen Xer, right? As a Gen Xer, growing up, your parents worked 2 jobs, you came home to an empty house, right? You're just prepared, like learning to be on your own. Like you were just, that's what it was. That's what's happening now, but with microtransactions. You're conditioned, right? Hence why, as we grow up, I'm like, why can't you do that? I did it when I was your age, type of thing. Okay? I'm conditioned to think that way. This is conditioned. Well, yeah, of course a battle pass costs $15. Of course the microtransactions cost that. That's how you play video games, Dad.
Just if left unchallenged. I miss when day one DLC was something that the entire gaming community agreed was scummy. Like, sure, plenty of people still bought it, but at least we'd all admit it was greed and not just a new normal get over it. If publishers are taking notes from GTA 6, I guarantee you the one note that will be circled and in big letters will be, add more intrusive in-game marketing for microtransactions.
100%.
Well, that and this next one, which is so obviously what they all want to do anyway. And that is offering no disc in the physical version of the game at...
How do you have a physical but with no disc? They should just say the plastic box edition.
Launch. But Strauss said it wasn't the plan to skip physical, I hear you.
Speaking of variety, Zelnick has now denied that this is the case. Asked if Take-Two planned to delay the release of physical version until after initial launch date, CEO replied, that's not the plan. Yeah, the plan is... there is no disc.
You say, well, turns out that was a half-truth. Calling it physical is laughable. It's a code you need internet for to download the game. Hey kids, make sure you pre-order before they run out of digital copies.
Exactly. Supply and demand, my friend.
Imagine
there is no supply and demand. It's just endless supply. But you gotta pre-order because it could run out.
paying months in advance to reserve something that there's an unlimited amount of.
That's right. Pre-ordering today, haven't seen anything, and you can pre-order 2 hours before the game comes out and it's still a pre-order, and you know everything about the game at that point. Mind-boggling. It's mind-boggling.
39 million don't have to. I'm gonna get 39 million dislikes on this video now. But
that'd be good though. 39 million dislikes. Be good ratio.
That would imply 39
That means 39 million people watched you.
9 million views. The little chips.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
9 million dislikes on this video now. But that would imply 39 million views. The little chips that Nintendo...
That'd be a hell of a ratio, though. 39 million people watch you, TheKingerd, and 39 million people dislike it.
used for the Switch 2 was technically more of a physical copy than this. At least those came with something in the box, I guess. At the time of recording, there's rumors a disc will be launched either in December or sometime in 2027, like we've seen out of some other games that delayed physical, but only time will tell. Not like they have any real incentive to even bother. There's complaints everywhere, sure, but the wallets have already spoken. Digital only is apparently fine. Now, this is obviously a tactic a lot of the games industry is already in on, where they're trying to push push everyone to the closed economy of digital-only games. 1, because it means they can stop shipping discs to retailers and save some money. 2, because they can completely cut out used game sales, meaning everyone is at the mercy of the publisher and their pricing at all times. And 3, because what else? Full control over digital use, including shutdowns and player steering to new games. What Stop Killing Games is opposing right now. Now, I'm not a fossil. I recognize that the majority of purchases are done digitally now. But I also want games to be enjoyed by as many people as possible. It's a hobby I'm extremely thankful for and don't want to see people keep getting priced out of. There's a whole segment of the gaming public that only buys used physical games.
Which they won't be able to anymore. And see, when you're a company like Microsoft, like Sony, like Nintendo, they go, oh, well, all these people like our games, but they don't buy our brand new games. So how do we make that number go up? Well, if we stop them from getting used copies, well, then they have to buy our games. What they don't understand is they don't have the money. They don't have the money. So they're never, ever going to buy your system. They're never, ever going to buy your games. So instead of buying a used system, they're never going to buy a game. Because now if they buy a used PlayStation 5 or an Xbox Series X system, and they get it for $200 less, and it's now $500, $600 instead of the $700, $800, $900, they're not going to be able to buy games for those systems because you've priced them out of the market, right? Yes, there are games that are $20, $40, $50 and stuff like that. If you're going to go this route, there's no reason to buy a console. You might as well buy a PC because at least on the PC, you have multiple choices to purchase from certain areas, and they go down because there's competition of them selling it, right? There's competition. You can buy it where you want and still play it on your PC. You don't have to open Steam to play your library. You can buy it multiple places and just click on the thing on your screen to open it up, right? This is planned obsolescence is what it is. They make the problem, they're selling the solution. And this is the first step. This is the horse armor that everyone goes, oh, it's just one horse armor. What's the big deal? What are you, broke, boy? It's only $2 horse armor. And here we are years later, we're paying $500 for a skin, $15 for a battle pass.
Trade stuff in. That's how they get to experience gaming. That's how I was throughout my whole childhood. Well, that and Gamefly. I borrowed Arkham Asylum from a friend, and that series is my standard for superhero games. I borrowed Resident Evil 4 from a
How dare you borrow games?
neighbor, and now I bleed Resident Evil. I played Halo split screen with my cousins, and it got me into shooters and sci-fi in the first place. And it's like it's this
like, my brother-in-law is a perfect example of this. He wants to play Grand Theft Auto. He doesn't own a system. He's like, I have to buy the system to play it. I was like, you got to buy a system to play it. And it's only PlayStation. It's only Xbox. And he's like, I got to spend $900 to play this one game. I said, you got to pay $1,000 because you got to get the game. If you get it for PlayStation, you got to get the game and the system. If you get it for Xbox, you got to pay $1,000. And he's actually thinking about it. He's like, what about if I buy the game and then I give it to you after I'm done and I just use your Xbox? I'm like, sure, right? I'm not paying for the game, okay? He doesn't want to buy a console because it's too expensive. So now he's like, I'm going to buy it and give it to you. I was like, it's not physical, though. It's only digital, right? So I'm like, you're losing out on sales because you're pricing people out, and he can afford it.
Industry's mission to make sure less and less people can ever have a story like mine. Getting rid of physical copies is how we end up with decades-old games being priced still high, by the way. As to how anyone can cheer for closed economies with no customer impact, controlled only by benevolent publishers who don't give a crap about you or anyone but their shareholders is beyond me. Bootlicker behavior. But look, I'm not calling for a boycott of GTA 6. That'd be about as effective as doing a solo delivery in a lobby of oppressors. I really do hope it's good, and I am looking forward to it. But with that excitement comes foreshadowing. The industry will look different after November 2026, and exactly how, we don't know the full.
Yeah, my brother-in-law might move in for a week just so he can play the game. Or I gotta give him my Xbox.
extent of just yet, but I promise you with the way people are violently defending this game's worst practices this far before launch, it's not all going to be good changes. And if you've made it this far in the video, you too, I'm sure, see the writing on the wall here. Don't be intimidated by the unprecedented hordes of hype for this game to speak out about it. You know more than they do. But hey, speaking of boycotting bad business that deserves to be boycotted, I think I'm going to do a Black Flag resynced video at some point. When it's done, I'll put it right here. If not, I'll put something else. Thank you.
So there you go. Check out TheKingerd's videos. Does great stuff. Link in the description down below. Roadkill says they can't base this on the most wanted game ever. Nobody's skipping GTA 6. People will skip other games if they're not physical. Right, but they will. They'll look at this and go, see, Grand Theft Auto didn't have a physical disc, so we don't have to have a physical disc either. That's exactly what they'll do. Just Nub says, don't worry, 30. They will have dynamic AI pricing for those pores in the digital-only hellscape. Travis says, look at the article I sent you. All right, give me a second. He's going to buy you the game by default. I don't want him to buy the game. I don't. I mean, it's his game, but he doesn't have a system. So he's going to go buy a system. So it's like, do I let him go buy an $800 to $900 system so he can play his game? Or do I just let him use my system and buy the game that I don't want? Do you know what I mean? I don't want to support a $100 video game. Right? I don't want to support the $100 video game. All right, Travis sent me this. He says, GTA 6 is set to lack major features on Xbox amidst the best on PlayStation 5 campaign. So Grand Theft Auto 6 remains on track to launch on November 19th, with those who picked up the game on Xbox Series S consoles set for worse experience. But here's the thing. I hate when they write stuff like this, and I'm not simping for Xbox. The person on the Series S doesn't get the worst experience. They don't know because they don't own the other systems. So this is the best experience for them. Does that make sense? I love when people are like, they're going to buy it for the Xbox Series S and it's the worst experience. If I own a 720p television and I don't have a 1080p, I don't know what I'm missing because I can't see the fucking thing to compare to mine. So obviously, if they have an Xbox Series S console and that's the only thing they have, they'll be happy with it because they don't know differently. If they do know differently, well, then they would buy the one they need. Rockstar Games hasn't shied away from the fact that GTA 6 is set to be the best on PlayStation 5. In the marketing partnership, the PlayStation is already well underway, with two powerhouses highlighting the DualSense unique GTA 6 features. The controller's haptic feedback offers responsive vibrations, while the adaptive triggers provide dynamic resistance. Read a post of PlayStation Blog. Does that mean when I'm getting a hooker in the car, I can put it on my junk and the vibration and it'll feel like it? Is that what that means? That is the best on PlayStation 5. Okay. The controller integrated speaker also adds another dimension of the key moments and interactions with the sound effects from the controller enhanced by haptic feedback. Those who pick up the GTA 6 on PlayStation 5 will also benefit from the Tempest 3D audio tech if they have any relevant accessories, as well as the ultra-high speed SSD. Alongside this, they widely believe that both PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series S will target 60 FPS, but unfortunately for the Series S users, the all-digital console doesn't look to set to do the same. Doesn't expect GTA 6 to run at 60 frames per second regardless of your hardware. Insider says that a take on YouTube reveal as much as via his podcast is spotted by the comic book. It doesn't particularly delve too far into beyond, stating that 30 FPS are expected for the Series S, which admittedly isn't all that surprising. It's also been common separation for the Series S and X, with 007 Light being one of the most recent major titles, and the frame rate locked to the cheaper console. No shit, Sherlock. No shit. As a source, they have Mirror as have correctly leaked the Witcher 3 Wild Hunt Song of the Past DLC ahead of the official reveal. That being said, it's always safer to take all leaks with a pinch of grain of salt. So there you go. So good. You get to feel the actual jobs, if you know what I'm saying, from the people that you get in the car with you. Hart says it's a little petty to not let him play simply because you don't want to support the game. He's buying it and supporting them. You're just giving him the space to be himself, to enjoy the benefit of playing for free if you decide to try it. Oh, I get that. Like, someone bought me Cyberpunk 2077 when it came out, and it was broken buggy. I wasn't going to buy it. I still haven't played it to this day. I own it. It's on my Xbox, right? I haven't played it. Everyone's like, great game. I'm like, fantastic, right? It's the premise of CD Projekt Red releasing a game as broke, buggy, and unfinished. Now, we're not in the same scenario here with the broken, buggy game, at least that we know of, okay? But we are in a position that I don't want to support a $100 video game. So he could buy it and play it on my Xbox, and I just still won't buy it. I still won't play it. And if I choose to, you're absolutely correct. I didn't say I wasn't going to let him. I mean, I would rather him play it on my Xbox than buy a $900 system that he won't use after he plays. Like, he'll just play it, beat it, and never play it again. Like, he doesn't play video games, but he loves Grand Theft Auto. The last console he owned was a 360. Mr. Luke says, so true. I went to a friend's house the other day, and he was watching live TV, not on the HD channel, and he didn't even care. It hurt my eyes. Because he doesn't know. He doesn't know. People don't know what they don't know because they don't know. It's just pity. So I feel where Mike is coming from. I'm just as petty. It's not being petty though, Argus. Hey, here's the thing, right? As the content creator, I tell you, I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. But if he buys it and puts it on my Xbox, you're like, well, you have it, so you're playing it. I'm like, I'm not playing it. Well, you own it. I haven't played it, right? Then I got to, like, defend myself because of what I do. If I wasn't a streamer, I don't give two shits, right? Are we still talking about vibrating controllers? Shove that controller up your ass, simp boys. Bingo, I only have 1080p monitor. I don't give a shit about ray tracing, 2K or 4K even. That's right. And why is that saying? Because you don't know. You know that 2K and 4K is better, but you don't know what it is. So you're like, I'm happy what I got. Jesse Mack says, Rockstar told PlayStation to remove the PlayStation app GTA 6 color. Now it's back to blue now. That's just an advertisement type of stuff, right? Eclipse says, who the fuck even uses the vibrator vibration? Dumb as fuck. Let the controller shake so I lose 3 hours of battery life. Argus says, I have the most expensive official PlayStation controller and the most expensive official Xbox controller, and I prefer the Xbox one. Haptic feedback on PlayStation controllers are really just a gimmick. But it says it's the best way to play. Argus says, like, it's nice to have the there, I guess, but if it's not, it decides of buying that controller. Also, PlayStation controllers have dog shit battery life. Yeah, I'm having problems with my batteries now. I have to go buy new batteries, like the rechargeable ones. Feels good says, haptic feedback can be great. Returnal and Soros use it well. Saint says, I use a vibration to force feedback on my controller. Makes me a big difference on racing games. Aku says, 30, I sent you an image of someone already broke the best of PlayStation 5 BS. All right, let me see. All right, GTA 6, best on PlayStation because of vibrating controller and 3D sound. Meanwhile, Xbox will exclusively play GTA 6 with Quick Resume, Dolby Vision, Dolby Atmos, native VRR, true RDNA 2.0, and higher HDR range. I mean, okay. I guess we'll have to see when the game comes out that everyone pre-ordered and nobody knows what it is. Just enough says, you turn off the vibration? You're an animal, sir. Well, at least I know Eclipse doesn't play with Wi-Fi and he plays with a hard connector. He's not that big of an animal. All right. He might not be using vibrating controllers, but he's got his goddamn controllers or his console plugged in. Don't tell me, Eclipse, that you don't have it plugged in, because I'm looking an idiot now. I backed you. You better have your hardwired in. you better be hardwired in. Arca says the $200 PlayStation DualSense Edge controller has 6 hours of use of or less battery life. The Xbox Elite 2 controller lasts for days and plays without charging. I like the size, shape, and feature. Jesse Max says, I remember when I played COD with the vibration and used the heavy mechanic guns. Very feel nice in my hands while shooting it. Clip says, yes, I have controllers where I can just turn it off in every game I play, and I always do have ever felt vibration in like 10 years, and I would say, but are you plugged in? Are you plugged in? All right, let me see what's happening on Twitter. So there's rumors right now that Supergirl is going to be out of theaters by the end of July. By the end of July. Eclipse says, of course I'm plugged in. I'm not a Wi-Fi warrior. It's Bungie Day. All I can say is every single artist, composer, programmer, engineer, Q&A tester, community manager, community leader, coffee guy, girl, person, thank you for everything. Oh, are they all fired? What happened? Coffee guy. Coffee guy. You know they have a coffee guy. You know they have a coffee guy there. I'll be honest, most of the time I don't even pay attention to the vibration on the controllers. And I do shut it off most of the time because it does kill the battery. Let's see. Cyberpunk Edge Runners arrives in Apex Legends this month. 16-year-old MMO Star Trek Online is moving forward by tinkering with the past. People still play that game? My God. I didn't even know it was still around. Didn't know. What else we got going on here? Oh, it doesn't look like anything. Nothing else broke today, huh? So we're okay. We're safe. We're safe to go on about the rest of our day. No breaking news. All right, it's fantastic. I mean, there's the Bethesda stuff about 50%. But we can talk about that tomorrow. All right. Like I said, the Xbox Elite 2 officially says 40 hours use per charge. DualSense Edge of PlayStation equivalent is like 6 to 8. Lower end if you use PlayStation specific features, and it costs more. And they're the same price? Are they the same price? Like I said, actually, if you Google it, it says DualSense Edge lasts 4 to 6 hours per charge, only 6 to 8 least intense games. Yeah, it's doing better than DC Universe Online. They have more players. Interesting. I played it years ago, like years and years and years ago. I want to say I played it. Yeah, before I was streaming. It's been over a decade, I think. $180 for the Elite Series 2, 40-hour battery life. $200 for the Dual Edge 4 to 6 hour battery life, of course. Just Enough says Microsoft is keeping the AA battery sector in business single-handed with its regular controllers. I use these. These are pretty old, and they're getting outdated. You know, these are AA or 2 AA batteries, and constantly just recharge these. I have 2 of these, and I just constantly recharge. Sometimes I forget to recharge them, and then I have to go get the AA batteries. No, I read it correctly. Yeah, $200 for the DualSense. I get it. I got you. All right, chat. We are done for today. If you guys like what I do, we do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning until noon Eastern. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member. We're gaming tonight over on 3's Still Gaming. We're playing some more Enshrouded. It's going to start probably a little later than I want to. I have dinner reservations tonight, and I don't know what time we're getting back because it's a little farther away. So we might be back by 8, but it might start like around 8:30 or so. So that's tonight over on 3's Still Gaming. We'll be back tomorrow morning for the Daily Grind right here, 10 a.m. sharp. We start at 9:30 with the music, and then we start off the show at 10 o'clock. You can come in and talk ahead of time. If you want to support us, you can go over to Spotify, watch the past broadcasts of our podcast, Generation X Gaming, which we do on Thursday nights right here on YouTube, and then we upload it over to Spotify and all places you can listen and watch podcasts. You can also support us by downloading the albums that we've done over on Spotify, Apple Music, iHeart, Pandora, all those places. Just search 30NSG. And then you can get some memorabilia down below. Shirt, mug, sticker. Or you can do none of this, and you can just hit the like button, which I do prefer. So if you guys like it, hit that like button. I'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching. Peace.
Yo, 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 be wars, now it's open doors. Gamers everywhere, no matter the store. Multi-platform rise, let's go. Cross-play, cross-life, everybody getting hype. Xbox, PlayStation, Switch, PC in sight. No more fences, we're breaking the chains. Gamers worldwide all share the same game. Cross-play, cross-life, everybody getting hype. Xbox, PlayStation, Switch, PC in sight. No more fences, we're breaking the chains. Gamers worldwide all share the same game. Remember the times when the console wars burned? Had to pick a side, bridges never got turned. Exclusive drops kept us stuck in the fight. Now they shipping everywhere and it feeling right. Halo hit Steam, Kratos left home. Sony cross seas, now we standing on Chrome. Call of Duty don't care where you log in, whether blue, green, red, everybody's locked in. Back then, bragging like my box the best. Now it's yo, what you playing on?